Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Caregiver and Spoonie podcast. My name is Jordan Banderas. You already know me. I'm your host. And just real quick, just a quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And also, thank you again for all the feedback, all the emails, all the people joining the community, and also the page on Facebook. I appreciate all the emails I've been receiving with questions. And today, I'm actually going to answer a question on the air, in this case, on one of the episodes, because I think it's very important to answer this question for everybody. I was asked, how hard was it to adapt into becoming a caregiver when my wife got sick? And the way that I answered this question, it was the hardest thing I have ever done. Like, literally, it was the hardest thing that I have ever done. Like, obviously, this happened out of nowhere, which, if you're a caregiver or a Spoonie, you know that this is going to happen out of nowhere. It's unpredictable. Like, you could have gotten in an accident, or the person that you're taking care of could have gotten in an accident or some kind of illness. If it's genetic, obviously it's out of your control, or something could have happened. Like in my wife's case, it just happened out of nowhere. She had a mental breakdown, and then it just spiraled from there. So it was hard. It was literally like learning how to walk again, because like I have mentioned before, I'm very blunt. I am very blunt. Now I'm learning to not be as blunt and say it in a more mindful manner. In a more mindful manner, so it doesn't sound rude or anything like that. And that's one of the things that I like about this journey with my wife, because she has taught me a lot into becoming a better person, and also I have learned how to push myself without killing myself. So to answer the question is like I said, it was hard. It is the hardest thing that you're gonna ever go through, if you ever go through it. Or if you're going through it, you're gonna understand this, that it is the hardest thing, especially when it's like out of nowhere. Like in my case, I wasn't expecting it. It just happened out of nowhere. I didn't know what to do, and I have mentioned this on an episode of the blog, I believe, where when my wife got sick, when she had her breakdown, I didn't know what to do. I didn't even talk the whole time that we were at the hospital. Like, I didn't talk until the doctors were asking me questions, because I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. This is going on right now. So at that moment, I knew that I had to change, or I had to adapt to the situation. And the way that you adapt to a situation is knowing, like, okay, this is an unknown. At least for me, the way that I was able to adapt to the situation is pretty much, I said this to myself. And thank you for the question, because this brings a lot of memories, good memories, obviously. I asked myself the question is like, what do I need to do to take care of my wife? So for one, obviously, I had to learn what was going on. So that's right there, learning. It's part of the adaptability process. And just to tell you real quick, we are human. We are adaptable. You might not feel like it, because you might have been raised in a way that is like it's your way or the highway. But if you're facing something like this, it could be with your kid, yourself, or anything like that, you're gonna have to adapt. You're gonna have to adapt so much. Every day is a new challenge, which you're gonna have to adapt. And I know you can, because I was able to do it. My wife is able to adapt. And me and my wife, we are very stubborn. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I am stubborn. And I always thought that I wasn't gonna be able to adapt to anything. Like, I was very close-minded. I'm gonna say it. I was very close-minded. I was like I have said on the blog. My family always made me feel like I was dumb, like I was a loser, like I was anything. So I saw the challenge. For me, this was a challenge, and I'm like, if I want to provide the best life for my wife, I need to adapt to this. I need to learn. So that's the first step. I learned what was going on, all of her conditions and everything. And then I had to learn how to talk to doctors, which was the hardest thing. That's another thing that I had to adapt on because I'm not that, well, I used to. I was very shy or very quiet. And the reason why I was so quiet is because I didn't know if I was talking the right way or if people will be able to understand me, especially in English. So I was always quiet. Now, not so much. So I learned how to talk. I learned how to talk to the doctors. I learned everything about the medicines that my wife takes, so I can tell the doctor, like, listen, this is one of the side effects. This is what's happening. So in order for you to and to answer the question, sorry, pretty much you have to adapt every day. Every day is going to be a challenge. If you're the Spoonie, you know this, you're going to have to adapt every day. There are days that are going to have to you're going to have to adapt more than others because you might be low in spoons, and there are gonna be days that you're gonna have to adapt because you're gonna have too many spoons, and then you don't even know what to do. It's like, oh, I have all this energy and I don't know what to do, or I don't have any energy and I don't know what to do. So you have to adapt. You have to find your rhythm, and that's what I did. That's why I work on myself, because I was like, in order for me to adapt to this challenge, I have to become better. I had to challenge myself. That's why I'm doing the podcast, because this is a challenge for me. Like, I wasn't a talker before, just a few months ago. You can ask my wife or anybody that knows me. They will say, like, he's so quiet. But now, it's like, you talk too much. But then at the same time, I adapt because I had to learn how to talk. I had to learn how to find my voice so I can be able to take care of my wife in such a way that when the doctors are like, no, you're gonna do this, I can be like, no, and this is why you have to listen to my wife, or this is why you have to listen to us. So it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard, but it's a learning process. Literally, it's literally like learning how to walk again. Like I said, I'm very blunt, so I will say very blunt things to my wife, and obviously she will take offense because she's depressed. So I was like, oh my gosh, I messed up. So I had to learn how to approach things in a different way. And that's one of the things that as caregivers, we have to understand that our spoonies, they're gonna be depressed, they're gonna be anxious, they're gonna be sad, they're gonna have a firestorm or feelings, literally. So we have to learn, we have to adapt to recognize that. And when we do, we have to figure out a way not to step in the minefield. I have stepped in that minefield so many times that now I'm able to recognize it because I learn. That's the thing. I adapt, in such a way. I was able to adapt in such a way that I was able to learn the patterns of myself in regards to what to say and what not to say. So pretty much I listen to myself every time I will say something, and my wife will react in a bad way, or she will feel offended. I was like, okay, hold on, what did I do? How are you taking this? So you have to talk, and I'm going to talk about that on another episode, how communication is very important, but I'm just trying to answer right now because probably a lot of you have that question. And if your Spoonie, especially with the COVID, if your Spoonie gets, or yourself, you get depressed or anything like that because of everything, all the changes that are happening, that's another thing though. Changes, you have to realize that change is normal in the life of a caregiver or a Spoonie. Like, nothing is going to stay the same. You're not going to take all of the medicine your entire life. Your medicine might stop working at some point. Your medicine might not work at all, so you might have to change it. You might have to change doctors. So change is good in this type of situations, and you have to adapt to it. You have to. If you don't adapt to that, to change, or to talk in a different way than the way that you're talking right now to your Spoonie, unfortunately, I can tell from my experience, it might not work. One of the two is gonna give up because there's a reason why me and my wife decided to go to couples counseling, because I knew that I needed help on how to talk to her, and that's how it helped us. If you guys need to go to therapy, if you as a caregiver or Spoonie need to go to therapy and you feel ready for it, go. And that way you can adapt to the situation, because you might have lose your business, you might have lose your previous life, you might feel so down or you might even feel like it's your fault that you're in this situation, but it's not. So if you have to go to therapy, either you or the caregiver, I would recommend you to go. If you have to go to couples counseling, I recommend it because that helped me. That's another way that I use, or another tool that I use to adapt to all these changes. Because, to be honest, couples therapy helped us a lot. It did help us a lot. We went to couples therapy. I went to therapy. My wife is going to therapy. So it's helping us. And the best thing that I can tell you, and like I said, I'm gonna do a whole episode just about communication, because that's a whole different monster just on its own. Communication is key. If you don't know how to communicate, talk to your Spoonie or talk to your caregiver and say like, hey, I don't know how to communicate. I'm gonna need your help. That's one of the things that I've been doing recently with my wife, because I didn't know how to communicate most of the time. So now I tell her like, hey, with the words that I'm using, with the words that I have to express myself right now, this is what I'm trying to say. It might not come off the right way. How else can I say it? And my wife tells me how to say it, and I feel very good about it, because I'm learning. She's teaching me. She feels good about teaching me, and then we can communicate better, and I'm able to adapt to the criticism. So you're gonna have to adapt to so many things. Now that I think about it, like, you're gonna have to adapt to so many things that you don't even know where to start. But trust your gut. That's one of the things that I did. I trusted my gut. My gut has been guiding me in a lot of things. And you have to trust your gut. If your gut says you have to work on this first, do it. If you feel a different way, obviously follow the most important feeling, which in this case is, what do I need to do first? Like, where do I need to start? Because you might not know where to start, but there's always a start. And unfortunately, in this situation, when you become a caregiver or Spoonie, there might not be an end. So you also have to adapt to that there might not be an end. There might not, this situation might get worse. This situation might get better. So you have to literally live every day as it is, just every day, each day at a time, literally. That's how I've been able to adapt. And like I said, it's hard. It's not easy. None of this process is easy, or nothing is easy, literally, with this particular process. But another thing, like I said, like, if you're willing to learn, you're actually going to enjoy the process. I have enjoyed this process by adapting to learning, because I always thought that I wasn't going to be able to learn anything new or anything like that. But now that I'm learning more and more stuff, and when I talk to the doctors, they're like, I didn't know that. I'm like, I did. I learned. I know something that you don't. So here's the proof. And that's why I'm doing the podcast, because I have learned so much, and I want to share all this information with you guys. And I also want to tell you that you're not alone. So I love your questions. I'm going to answer more questions throughout the episodes, because I think this is a good question. So that was today's episode. Keep sending me your questions. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share, like, and if you know somebody that's going through something like this, like I said, this podcast is for everyone, not just for Spoonies or caregivers. If you know somebody that is facing depression, anxiety, or anything at all, this is for them. This is for you. This is for everybody. So you can share it, like it, subscribe. Don't forget to comment. You can send me your questions. You can send me your stories at thecaregiverandspoonie@gmail.com. and let's make this community grow, because I know that we can grow it. I know that we can make this better. I know it. And I'm very excited to make more episodes like this. Thank you for all your questions again, and I'll leave you with this. Always take care of yourself.